morning, everyone. I always say good morning, but I guess it might not be morning. But it's morning for me. As you know, I do most of my filming. Most of my filming first thing in the morning. So it's 7:20. I've actually been up since about 5:30. We had groceries delivered, and Matthew was getting up to go to work. All those things. So up and ready to go for the day. So I start work in about an hour or so, hour and a half. Well, no, an hour and 10 minutes. So I thought, why not do some crafting? A few days ago, actually, I'm not quite sure when, I bought some digitals from a store called, let me just have a look, I had it up, Allure Bookscraft, sorry. And she has lots of digitals on her page, on her store, and these were some. I bought a few receipts and that scanned ephemera stuff, which was cool. So I'll put a link to these down below. But these are they're like receipts, I suppose. They're bank receipts or checks or something anyway from 1800s. So I thought I would make some long tags with these as primarily the base. And then I did a ton of coffee dyeing on the weekend. There's actually some things on my Etsy. I scanned some doilies. So like I had so there's a set of doilies, and then there's a set like of scanned ones, and then there's a set of scanned grid paper. So I also coffee dyed some grid paper. So this isn't the scan, this is the original. But I coffee dyed some grid paper to use in a set of journals that I'm making. So I haven't started making them, I'm just gathering it, and I'm going to make them once I've gathered up most of what I'm going to make them with. I'm going to make them on video, but that's what I did on the weekend. But the grid paper came out so good that I was like, I'm going to scan it. So they're all available on my Etsy store. As usual, the link is below, but I might just do the shop link as well. Okay, so that's it for all of that stuff. So anyway, I've got some little bits and pieces, and where the doilies got a bit damaged in the coffee dyeing process, which sometimes happens because some of the doilies that I bought, they were quite cheap, so they're quite thin paper, and once you dunk them in the coffee, they get a bit delicate. Some of them are quite sturdy. So I did a few different sizes. And this, I mean, who knows, a specific brand or whatever. This size, this one I did, got very delicate and would break when it got wet. But then I had other ones that were fine. These bigger ones, they coped really well with getting wet in the coffee. So who knows, really? No rhyme or reason. But I do have this beautiful look. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it all. But this is some glassine bags and some index cards. Lots of doilies. And then some paper and some envelopes here from the other day. And then this sketch paper, which is quite thick. So there we go. I was busy on the weekend. My hands were all dyed grey, brown. So that's quite funny. All right. Anyway, let's stop chattering and we'll get on to doing some crafting. Generally, I just do this as my morning thing before work, and I figured I might as well just turn on the video. Let me just make sure. My blue book, yes, it is. Make sure that I'm in the area. I keep slipping below my line here, so I have to make sure that I don't. Okay, so I have a bit of, I threatened my son to tell this story, so I'm going to do it. our boys all do chores. I guess like everyone, they've got a set number of chores and jobs that they have to do. And my eldest was on the washing the clothes on the weekend one day. I can't remember what day, Saturday I think it was. Anyway, and they're supposed to wash 2 loads or a minimum of 2 loads and hang it up and bring it in. And if they can't bring it in on the day because whatever happened, maybe it rained or the clothes are too wet or whatever, they have to bring it in the next day. They have to bring in the washing that they washed. Anyway, so the other day, Jordan, he did the washing and got it all out, and then he went to bring it in, and he was rushing. I think he needed to go to the toilet anyway, so he was rushing in, and they were a little bit damp still. So we said, "Oh, well, just because it's winter at the moment, so nothing really dries very well, particularly if you leave it after 3." So anyway, he was rushing and rushed in and got them all and chucked them in the dryer and turned on the dryer, and then realised that he'd actually chucked them in the washing machine and turned on the washing machine. So he did. He was re-washing the clothes. He goes, "Can I take them out?" I'm like, "Nah, not if you started it." But because he needed to go to the toilet, he was jumping around, and he yeah. Poor thing. So he he then had to hang them up inside. Then I think he did. Hopefully, I haven't actually checked whether he did do that. But yes, because the dryer is on top of the washing machine, so it's all just there. We don't use the dryer very often. Generally, we put the clothes in. Like we just leave them to hang up until they dry, and then we do have a couple of drying racks inside. So, but sometimes, especially when we've got all the kids here, it does get a bit hectic. But yes, it was quite funny. Poor thing. He was doing really well and got them in and everything, and just basically I'll stuff that up. So yes, don't try and rush putting the washing away. So anyway, it really did make me giggle that he had done it. Oh, let's stick the piece of paper down. Okay. Oh. So I've also got to put some paper on the back, but I'm not quite sure what. I do have some ledger paper, but it's very, very, like it's this modern one. It's not old ledger paper. It's very white. I did mean to coffee dye that on the weekend, and I got carried away with everything else and forgot. This is gluey already. You make more quicker than I can create with them sometimes. It's the problem. Oh. Okay. Oh, so at work this morning, we've got 4 children today, and then we've got play group, so I might take the children to play group. Should be good. We'll see how Tom's going. So Tom works with me, my 17-year-old. He works with me every day, unless his fatigue is tough, and then he might not on any given day, but that doesn't happen very often these days. He's had a bit of a cold on and off, so he has struggled a bit. He gets to the end of because I pay him, and he hasn't been able to have a full fortnight's pay yet because he keeps yeah, he'll get to the end and then he's tired again, which I guess happens. But he has autoimmune hepatitis, so he gets fatigued. Although his blood results are doing really well at the moment. He's got another appointment on Friday, so hopefully we'll do a blood test today. It'll be good to see how his results are going. So he was diagnosed at the beginning of last year in a horrible, scary moment. Yeah, I haven't really spoken about it. So my son, last year in January or February, he was getting massive chest pains at school. I had a bit of a panic attack, I suppose. And the school called his dad and he went straight to the doctors. And then the doctor checked his chest pains, but then said, "Oh, I'm not happy with his colour," so sent him to the hospital. So my ex-husband went to the hospital with him, called us, and so I met with them at the hospital. And his blood results freaked everyone out. Like, literally just... Okay, I was doing the base on all these first. Sorry, I'm going to keep telling the story. So yeah, so they... his blood results just freaked everyone out. They just were... yeah, all over the place. And the hospital that we went to wasn't a specialist children's hospital. And because he was under 16, he comes under children. Well, under 18, but generally hospitals they consider under 16. So this hospital that we were at, they sort of went, "No, this doesn't look good." One of the doctors said, "It's looking like it," pointing towards something like myeloma. The doctor in charge of the ER just went, "Oh, I've got no idea what's going on. He needs to go get checked out." Oh, I meant to... Oh, sorry, I'll just do this. So yeah, so they sent us to the children's hospital, so we went. And he was admitted. Yeah, so he was admitted and then proceeded to spend 2.5 weeks in hospital. About 20 days or so he was in there, a bit under that. He had fluid on his heart and his lungs. He needed surgery to drain that. He had liver. He was jaundice. He was... my mum came over from Adelaide. We were, because he didn't want to be alone, so we were constantly staying in the hospital. He, just was sick. He was sick. And, he scared the Jesus out of all of us. Finally, they came up with this diagnosis of autoimmune hepatitis, which is, it's interesting. Whenever we tell someone, like a doctor or whatever, they're like, "Oh, is that hepatitis A, B, C?" No, it's none of those. So it's not actually... even though his liver was sick, it's not actually his liver that's sick. It's his immune system which is attacking his liver. So his immune system makes his liver sick, but with this disease, you can actually get a healthy liver. And all the tests showed that we actually got it before he did any permanent damage, which was good. So there was no cirrhosis or fibrosis or anything. So yeah, so he was diagnosed with this autoimmune thing. He'd spent 2 nights in ICU when he was in... it was horrible anyway. But the other side of that, he gets very fatigued. As you can imagine, when your liver's not functioning optimally, that you get tired. So he gets tired. Cutting off the glue off my blue book because it's starting to... Okay. yeah, so he takes a few different medications. He's got a compromised immune system now because he has to take immunosuppressants. So, yeah, it's tough. But he does well. But he was, sorry, I got distracted. So he was struggling with a lot of fatigue. And was struggling to go to school regularly, as you can imagine. So he, rather than just him staying home and staying in bed, we said, okay, we can pull you out of, because he was doing year 11. We said, you can go out of school, but you need to do some study online, and you can work with me regularly. So he works with me every day, generally 9 to 3, sometimes a little bit less than that, which means that even though it's the same sort of hours as school, he doesn't have to get up early because he can just he gets out of bed at 8:30ish, so he can sleep in quite reasonably. Gets up, takes his medication, have breakfast, takes his medication, then he comes and works with us for a couple of hours. And then if he's not up to it, he still has to get up and obviously breakfast and medication, and then come and tell me and have the day off then. So, which he does. It's pretty good. And he's doing a certificate 3 in early childhood because, now he doesn't have year 11 and 12. And we did talk about that he could, once his liver's better and his function's better, that we can look at doing year 11 and 12 as an adult in adult college or TAFE or whatever. So hopefully he will. But even if he gets a Cert 3, the school said, Cert 3 is the equivalent of doing year 12. And here in Canberra, there's lots of pathways. So if you do your Cert 3, you can then go to the uni and do a special bridging program where you can get apply to go to uni. So they're coming out of that. So that's where he's at. But it's challenging watching a child go through chronic illness like that. I might put some back. This can be part of that. It's really challenging. I had a friend when we were talking about it on Facebook. Giving people updates what was happening. A friend of mine, who I've known for a few years, but we're not exceptionally close anyway. She messaged me and said, my daughter was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, and she took 18 months off of school, essentially. So I don't feel so bad that he's not at school, because it must be challenging. And my mum's like, he'll get there, he'll get better, and then he can go back. And he doesn't sit on his bum and do nothing. He doesn't just he doesn't sit and play on the computer. He'd love to sit on the computer all day. But that was part of the rules, that he can't do that, because he still needs an education, even if he's feeling cruddy. So prognosis is good though for this medical condition. So he can go into remission, which should be good. It's a chemical remission, so for the most part, he will, depending on what his doctor does, different doctors do different things, but most people, if they go on into remission, they need to basically stay on medication for life to stay in remission. So hopefully he will Yeah, so he I'll show you. Is up there. This feels good, right? It's a little bit straight. I haven't torn that one. Like that. Yes. Oops. There we go. I don't know whether I need a lot more on the back of the. I was sort of thinking of putting flower or something, maybe still. Let's see. How do I do the 6 first? Is it 6? I've got that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. I can't count. And then, yeah, I've got some more coffee dough paper that I can put on the back to write on. Oops. And then I'll also stitch around this. I do like checks. Maybe. Okay, how are we going? Oh, sorry, 20 to 8. That way? That way. Oh, sorry, yawning. So the project I've been talking about that I want to set of journals. So I want to make a set of, I guess, traveler's notebook size. Because I really like that size, and I know it's called traveler's notebook, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to travel. But I bought one from, I think I showed you the other day, the one I bought from the Red Deer Printables, that I'm taking with me when we go to Adelaide to document, or to, well, one, so I can do a bit of junk journaling while we're away, but also yeah, just to keep track of what we're doing. And previous times when I've gone away, I come back with all of the stuff and then it just sits there, and I don't actually end up, it takes me a long time to get around to journaling about it. So I thought if I do some of it as we go, so I can slide things in and write a little bit, and you know, I can put a post-it note to say this photo or this photo is going to go there. Knowing that I'll take photos, I'll take my camera. So yeah, so I can stick some stuff in there, put a little post-it note saying the photo will go there, and then when I get back I can just print off the photos. I'll make myself up a little baggie of, you know, glue and tape and papers. Yeah, and I don't have to, obviously won't have to use all of it, but yes, I thought that might be, No, we'll see. We'll give it a go. But because of the size of that traveller's notebook that I bought, I realised it's quite a good size to take with you when you're travelling. I guess hence why they were developed as traveller's notebooks, because they're the right size. I guess that's where Maduri came up with their name. Yeah. So that's I'm going to make a little series of them and see. Digital definitely seems to be the way to go on Etsy. Lots of people, they're like me, they like creating their own thing. But yeah, we'll see. They may end up going as presents to people. Gifts or something, happy mails even. Okay. Alright, 2 more. I feel like I've done a bit of a effort. Marathon. Not marathon, I guess. It's quick for the speed race? 100 metre sprint. No, I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Managed to catch up on a bit of YouTube watching on the weekend too. Often I compete with my youngest son to watch to use the computer on the weekends that he's here. But he's been reading his books. And he bought himself a new DS game. It's the second-hand one, but new to him. So on the weekend he was reading his set of graphic novels we bought, the Scott Pilgrim ones that we bought that arrived, and playing his new DS game. That's pretty good. I love that he's reading. I know they're graphic novels, or they read short novels too. That's good. I wasn't necessarily going to match them all, but this is this green. I think this is my last piece. Like one of my favourite pieces of paper. So we had groceries delivered at whatever time it was, 5:30 this morning. Well, it was supposed to be 5:30. They didn't arrive. So I booked it to be delivered at 6, from 6 to 9, which is fine if I'll be up. And then text message saying, oh, it'll probably be earlier, between 5:45 and 6:45. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get up. And then they had another text message saying, oh, it will be even earlier. And then they didn't come to 6:15 anyway. So I got up early. Oh, it meant I got up and showered and everything before Matthew went to work. Because he had to go to work. We had a bit of a crap sleep last night. Not very nice sleep last night. It was very, it felt a bit warm. So, which wasn't good. And the cat was a bit disruptive. So, yeah, that was so yeah, that's never fun to not have a nice sleep. wake up feeling not refreshed. I'm just glad it's my 3-day week this week. Although we've got 3 appointments now on Friday. We've got just the normal GP first thing in the morning because on top of his hepatitis he also has asthma, which he's not been managing well, so he doesn't take a preventer, which is not ideal. So he's actually, especially when he has a cold, it hits him really bad and he struggles with that. So we're going to go, this paper is so delicate it just doesn't quite tear very well sometimes. There's a lot of tape. Yeah, so we're going to go to the GP and get him back on his preventer medication. He used to get slack because I think that was the only medication he had, and so he just didn't bother. But now that he takes medication every day, I said to him, why don't you just take it when you take all your other medication? Just add it to the list. So hopefully, I'm just going to glue, because that paper's not tearing very well. I'll glue straight onto here. Then stick this there. So this video ended up being a whole conversation about Tom's medical things. I guess it forms the most of our minds a lot of the time. Yeah. Just because it's so I folded it over just because I thought, oh well, I've got to put blank writing paper, but the little border of music paper is not too bad, I think. Let's get this torn. Do the same thing. I'm going to pink coffee dyed. The doilies are a little bit more delicate. So gluing them and I need some green on that one. Now that I've done the green on all the others, maybe I need to do a little bit. Maybe better. There we go. A little bit of green because otherwise they don't match. Oops. There we go. Okay, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's cool. So do I add? I don't know whether I add. Do I add flowers or something to it? Or not? So not too big. There's more narrow. I quite like them as they are, maybe. I don't know, I'll think about it. Maybe I'll just put how we make time. So we're at 36 minutes. Oh, time flies. Well, maybe if we got some of this partially tie-dyed coffee dye paper. It'll be good for the back. It'll be quite good for the back of these. And then, so there's the writing surface. I could even put pockets on the back as well. Could do. A sticky little pocket. Do you have these little glassing bags? Not quite, a bit too wide. Might be a bit too. I do have this. Pockets on the back. Do more paper. Well, I don't know. Some terry ruler. There it is. No, I keep slipping off the screen. Okay. Right, add a frame. I think I still do that one too. Papers. Clean scissors. Okay. Oops. Don't do well with my tearing there. Oops, I just caught the paper with the glue stick. Glue everywhere. Okay. Oh, one, two next to each other. That's very useful. So I found some more botanical type books that are quite a reasonable price at World of Books. I get quite a few from there. They're free postage, which is always good. Sometimes the books are a little bit more expensive than if I was to pick them up on eBay or something. Not often nice, but quite often they're just as cheap, if not cheaper. But you have to check, because I guess it depends on what condition they're in. So when they're secondhand, so they rate them a little bit. And I've bought the same books that are different prices because of their condition. But anyway, so I've got some more. So hopefully they'll come soon, and I'll do a little bit of a video. I've got a couple more Edith Holden books coming too, which should be good. So I have to sort out my things better, because at the moment it's all a bit, let's put a bit, piles of books everywhere. I've done a recent large purchases, I suppose, all going to various secondhand stores recently, and got a few. So there's noise happening. I think it's the cat thing. Where's that one that I've got? Here's coming back. I might not get all these done because we're already at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to have to sign off. Well, at least pause this video. What I might do is pause it, or stop it, and then do another video afterwards, and then join them together. After I finish them off, like sew around the edges and put in this last lot of backing paper on it, because I'm not sure I have much more time at the moment. I do have to go do my safety check and things like that. Okay, so I've done the backing of 4, so there's our 8 long tags. I could even just cut them in half and make shorter tags if I wanted to. But maybe no idea, because this size, I've already cut the. Oh, maybe if they fit in. Depends on how much the cover is in terms of that, but I think that works quite well. So there they are. 1, 2. Those ones I've done backs. That one I haven't. That one I have. That one. I've not done a back yet. That one's done a back. That one's done a back. So what I'll do, I'll tack onto the end of this video. I'll probably do it tomorrow morning. I only just posted a video yesterday, so that's okay. And I can do that, and I will finish decorating. Well, I'll sew around the edges and finish putting stuff on the back of these ones that I haven't done yet. Sorry, I keep flipping them around. There we go. So that's that. So that's a great little. I love these seat things. I'll put a link down below to where I picked them up. But that was really good. Otherwise, I'll log back in afterwards. This is already 45 minutes, so I'll log back in. I'll tack on another video at the end of it, which will have the papers finished, and I'll sew around the edges. And then, yeah, so this is just a brief pause. I won't say goodbye yet, and I'll come back a bit later. It'll probably be a day later in my time, but instantly in yours, to finish it off. Okay, I've come back. It's actually 24 hours later because, you know, life gets busy. Yesterday was a pretty hard day at work. So anyway. So I finished these off. I've put the back on all of them. So these ones here I was doing yesterday, and then I had an extra one of these doily ones. So they're all on. I then, the other day, I watched a video by Crafty Dork. She's another Australian, Jeanette Dawkins, and she had made altered playing cards and had put eyelets in the corner, which I really liked. So I've copied her or inspired by her. I don't know. I'll link the video below anyway of where she was doing that, which was really cool. So I also put some eyelets on, and I stitched around the edges. So as you can see, stitch around the edges, put the eyelets on. I used the last of this little lace that I had, which I really like because of the colour. I'm going to have to dig through my lace box, ribbon box, and see what else I have that's similar, because I only had enough to do two little ones. But that's okay. I guess it gives a bit of an idea. I'll have to hunt around. But there, and do you know what I realised? I haven't inked anything. Look at that. Different things. Didn't feel the urge. Okay, so there they are. So there's that one on the back. This one. In the end, I haven't chosen a little focal or a flower or something. I may do when they're used or may not. Just have to see. Because may not be necessary. There we go. So that's all of those. So thank you for watching, and I will, like I said, I'll put a link to that video from Crafty Dork, who did the eyelets on her ultra playing cards, which was really cool. Cool idea. Thank you, Jeanette. That was awesome. And yeah, that was it for the time being. I don't do much during the week in terms of video because it's just too hard. Sometimes I'll make some videos and stitch them together. I seem to do a couple over the weekend and then that's it. So anyway, that's all at the moment. I'm going to finish drinking my coffee and do a few other bits and pieces before work. And I'll see you next time. Bye.